We released this last week on 247sports.com, and this was essentially where a lot of us at the national level were asked to rank the top 50 players in college football. Now, I don't ever claim to be a talent scout. However, I looked at our finished product, and I thought it largely stood up against criticism, but then again, I had some criticism for it because, naturally, all my guys didn't get placed where I wanted all my guys to get placed. Everyone that I'm going to list here, we're going to talk about a few of these guys. Everyone I'm going to list here, I don't have a huge bone to pick. I just want to go down the list and a few things that stand out to me, a few names that stand out to me, why they stand out to me. And you can find the list yourself at 247sports.com, and you can let me know what you think about it in the comments section, who should have been there, who is there that shouldn't have been there, and who should have been higher, should have been lower, because those were the questions that we were asked to answer after we turned in our submissions. So Trey Lance is one of the first names that I want to get to. Trey Lance is already projected to be a first-round draft pick in the upcoming NFL draft. He is the quarterback at North Dakota State. Now, the reason I'm mentioning Trey Lance is not so much because I question his being in this list. He's the guy that you don't have any certainty about this year as it relates to schedule. It looks like everyone else is coming out, and everyone else at the Power 5 level is talking about what they plan to do. Now, whether it ends up coming to fruition is largely up to fate at this point, but this is an FCS program, North Dakota State. Now, they're a powerhouse, but they're an FCS program. So the biggest question with Trey Lance, and I got it for the Late Kick Extra podcast the other day, which is available for download right now. 5-star reviews appreciated. One of the questions someone asked me about Trey Lance that kind of made me think for a second, which is always good, is what happens if the FCS doesn't have a season this year, or the conference that North Dakota State's in doesn't have a season this year? What does he do? And the question was like, does he transfer somewhere and try and get eligibility to play his senior year? Now, to me, the quick answer was no. Remember what I said about him. I didn't say he's a guy with first-round potential. He has that, but I said he's a guy that a lot of mock drafts and a lot of anonymous executives at the NFL level already have projected as a first-round guy. So if you're sitting there telling me that if the draft were today, I would go first round, and then I don't have a season, I'm just going to train for the draft. I'm not going somewhere trying to learn a new offense over the next 10 or 15 minutes, risking injury and doing it when I don't have to do it, I guess, would be the best way to say that. So Trey Lance at number 10, interesting. And a side argument there, a nice side debate is it looks like the three premier quarterbacks in the upcoming draft. You got Fields at Ohio State, you got Lawrence at Clemson, and then you got Lance at North Dakota State. And the big question is, could he actually be taken before one of the two big boy Power 5s? He's a big boy in his own right, but you understand where that debate comes from. Now let's go the Power 5 route. Let's go to the SEC. Jaylen Waddle at Alabama was listed at number 13. And so I was thinking about a nice prop bet. A couple of prop bets I think would be good with Jaylen Waddle. Prop bets are just random stuff that odds makers sometimes put out that you can bet on that doesn't include the side or the total. So Jaylen Waddle, I think it would be a very interesting prop bet to see what kind of odds I could get betting that he would have a rushing touchdown, a passing touchdown, a return touchdown, and a receiving touchdown this year. So 4 different ways, because I think he'll have all of those, or I think there's a very good chance he could have all those. And I would love to see what I can get there. I'd also love to see what the over-under rushing attempts for Jaylen Waddle this year would be. A lot of direct snap potential for Jaylen Waddle. He's just a dynamic guy. He is a healthy version, I think they wear the same number if I'm not mistaken, of Kenyon Drake. Like when Kenyon Drake was at Alabama, when he was healthy, I always watched my TV or in person when I was there, and I said, why don't they give Kenyon Drake the ball more? Like, am I the only one that sees how nervous that defense is when he's on the field? Am I the only one that sees the pressure he puts on them? Well, it's to another degree with Jaylen Waddle. So this is the guy. Remember, we were talking about this a couple of months ago. I'm not big into Heisman talk, but if you told me that I had to take a non-quarterback as my pick to win the Heisman, that'd be him. Jaylen Waddle is my leader in the clubhouse as a non-quarterback Heisman candidate this year. Let's move on. Now, this is the one I had the biggest beef with. Number 35 was Iowa State quarterback Brock Purdy. As many of you who watch and listen to the program regularly know, I can't explain it, but I've kind of adopted Iowa State as one of my surrogate programs that I pull for. I guess you could call it bias. So I have some Iowa State bias. But there you go. I admitted it. So that means I'm immune from criticism. I think that's what the rules say. Brock Purdy's at number 35. Quite simply, there are not 34 college football players that I would take if I had my own program to run before I would take Brock Purdy. He has, at this point, significant experience in big games. He just has the experience factor, period. He's got very good mobility. He has, in other words, the tools that it takes to win the way modern-day offenses ask a quarterback to win. Very good ability to improvise, very good ability to make plays when your initial play breaks down, very high football IQ, very good leadership qualities, and I go back to that E word again, just for good measure, experience, especially paramount in a season like this where you lost a lot of what you would have in spring, and maybe you reside in a conference where some of the bigger contenders are trying to break in a new quarterback. OU. So Brock Purdy at number 35 I thought should be higher. Another guy I thought should have been ranked at the very least was Eric Stokes at Georgia. Now, we didn't even have him ranked. Eric Stokes, he's a defensive guy. Maybe some of you don't know who he is. He is the best corner that Georgia has. He has been inked in, not penciled in. He has had his name written in ink as a starter at corner for 2 years at Georgia. Now, I'll tell you why that's pretty significant. Some of the most heated position competition at any program in America over the last couple of years, this one included, has been the corner position at Georgia. And even having said that, this is one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in the country. That guy has, without question, been the alpha corner on that team. He's a guy that's not afraid to be physical at the line of scrimmage. He's everything that Kirby Smart wants in a corner. He is probably going to end up being a first-round guy in the upcoming NFL draft. He is a fixture on defense for probably the best defense in the country this year. So I just go back to I'm not lobbying for him to be top 10, but I don't know how in the world we have 49 or 50 guys listed above him. And then there's another one that I understand more. Another question that we were asked that I would encourage you to ask yourself as well is, which guys aren't listed here that will be top 50 by the end of the year? And I went to Christian Barmore. Christian Barmore is a name most of you don't know. Christian Barmore is a former elite recruit out of the Philadelphia area, I want to say. He goes to Alabama. Last year, there were times where they put him on the field. And every time they put him on the field, he flashed. You look at the Pro Football Focus advanced metrics, and he's right at the top of some of the advanced metrics that they keep, but you just didn't see him a whole lot. But when he was on the field, very disruptive. Now, I'm not questioning Nick Saban's personnel decisions. There's always a reason why a guy's getting the amount of playing time that he's getting, and we're nowhere near qualified to know, even if we know everything about football. There's stuff behind the scenes. Who knows? I don't know anything about Barmore behind the scenes. What I'm telling you is this reeks of Quinnen Williams. Quinnen Williams had the same kind of career arc to where he got on the field, and when he was on the field, everyone's excited. Everyone's leaned forward in their chairs because it always seems he makes big plays. It always seems like he's right there around the football when he's on the field. He just wasn't on the field a whole lot. Then he was pretty much an every down player and was a top 10 NFL draft pick. But you really only saw him used to that degree for 1 year. I think that's what's about to happen to Barmore. I think they're going to heavily incorporate him in this year's defense, and I think he's going to have a Quinnen Williams type year. And then I think there is a very good chance that he, at the end of the year, if we do this list again, Christian Barmore could be a top 10 player after having not been ranked. And to be honest with you, wouldn't be shocked if we said that about Eric Stokes too. So those were my reactions to our top 50. You can let me know what you think about that.